Hey guys, welcome to 6 Minutes for Wednesday, December 14th. I'm Jason Fulmore, SE Wrestle. And yeah, we're still doing the countdown to the knockout. Today, Corey and I sat down and had a conversation. And our topic was, what is or what has been the toughest bracket at the knockout? We're hitting the 10th annual knockout. There have been some outstanding brackets headlined by some outstanding, fantastic wrestlers. And we look back at 4 different brackets and give our opinions about which of the 4 is the toughest. Do you agree? Disagree? Have a suggestion for another bracket? I would be up for that. So, let us know what you think. And, we got a few more topics to cover in the coming days as we gear up for, I think it's a week from today, that the knockout will kick off for 2022. Anyway, hope you guys have a good one. And, see ya. Enjoy my conversation with Corey. All right. Back with Corey Haase and the knockout. This is day 2 of our conversation. And what we've done here, and I want to just kind of preface this by saying Corey sent me this list of questions, like, I don't know, 4 weeks ago, that said, who is the best wrestler to not have won a knockout title? What's the toughest bracket that's ever been in the knockout? Blah, 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 blah. And they're great questions. I mean, honestly, they are some great questions. And I think that if you posted them on Florida Wrestling, your Facebook page, you would have a ton of different opinions. Have you posted any of these yet?
No, I haven't posted them yet, but I will when you share it.
Okay. All right. So that's great, because I think that this should elicit a lot of reactions. Yesterday, we talked about the best wrestlers to not have won a knockout title, and that list is superb. And we've got some really good wrestlers in the field this year who have yet to win a knockout title as well, who could end up on that list if they don't actually make that happen this year. But go back and watch yesterday's. Today, we are talking the toughest bracket. And the toughest bracket for me, again, is a little hard because it's difficult to, are we talking about the toughest bracket from top to bottom? All 64 kids? Because the truth is, when we get through 6 kids at the top of each of these 4 brackets, it's unbelievably tough. So when I say the toughest bracket to you, Corey, what is the first thing that comes into your mind on how you're assessing that?
I was kind of assessing it per I kind of really just looked at the top 4 from the pre-seeds and stuff and how they kind of fared out. To me, it's pretty easy on which one is probably the top one.
Oh, is that right? So you've got a slam dunk. You know which one is going to be your number one.
But then it kind of goes to another one where I'm like, maybe that should be one. So I don't know.
So, all right. If we were to peek ahead to this year's knockout, do you have any idea what might be the toughest weight at this year?
I think 138, maybe 160 are going to be pretty tough ones from
what you see.
From what I'm seeing where kids are at weeks prior, and thanks to Georgia with their new weight classes, where some of the kids might be, because they have a 165 weight class and a 157 or something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see where some of these kids fall into place.
Yeah. No, 100%. And you saw a couple of the Camden kids because they came down to your tournament last weekend and they kind of fit into Florida weight classes. And we've seen Buford head north to Southern Slam and kind of fit into the old weight classes. Yeah. And Mill Creek as well. But you're right. There are going to be weight classes, especially at 65, 75, at 190 instead of 195, where you're going to be like, I'm not 100% sure where a kid is going to fit in. So it'll be fun. Yep. And there is no 182. So what happens with 182 is going to be an interesting thing. All right. So let's jump in to each of these, and I'm going to flash up the seeds. And you have to remember the brackets go down to 64, but I'm not going to make it super small. So let's start In 2017, this was actually the bracket that brought me to the knockout that I was paying attention to. 152 pounds, number 1 seed, Brevin Balmaceda, 4-time Florida State champion. Number 2 seed, Anthony Artelota, 4-time Florida State champion, NCAA qualifier. Number 3 seed was Justin Ruffin from Union Grove, a 4-time Georgia State champ, also an NCAA qualifier. And your 4 seed in that bracket was a 3-time state champion, Jacob Conrad. So that right there, on its surface, was an outstanding bracket. How does that measure up for you? And I know we haven't talked about the other 3 yet, but
Right.
tell me kind of what you think of that bracket.
So I can't remember. Was that the year that Brevin was number 1? He was number 1 in the country, won Super 32. Is that the same year? I believe it is.
It
I'm
might
sure.
be. I think that's the year that Ruffin beat him though on a tiebreaker in the finals, right?
Yeah, it's something like that. I need to pull the bracket up, to be honest with you. But that bracket is super tough. You have Brevin, he was Oklahoma State. He was number 1 in the country for a while, Super 32 champ. And then you fall into Artelona, and Artelona was like however many time champ at Fargo, and he was. Ruffin was super good in high school as well. And then I asked you what had happened to him, because I wasn't totally sure, and you had said that he had some pretty big injuries and stuff. So that's
Yeah,
kind of sad to
he
hear
got
about
he
that.
got hurt after that. I don't know what one of the years. So hopefully he's back on the mat this year. I hope
Yeah,
so.
hopefully. Yeah. But it's if you're really breaking it down, the bracket down, Balmaceda's in the finals, Ruffin's in the finals. So you have this guy, you have Artelona, who's a multiple Fargo champ and doesn't even make the finals that year. And that's an incredible bracket, if you ask me.
Yeah, kind of boggles the mind. All right, so let's switch to a year later in 2018 and 138 pounds, where, in my opinion, it's deeper, but I don't know if it has the headliners that what Brevin and Artelona and Ruffin were. But let's go through it. Number 1 seed was Malik Hines, 3-time state champion Florida, wrestling for Lehigh, obviously. Gabe Hicksonbaugh, 5-time Alabama state champ. Shannon Hanna, 1-time state champion Florida, 1-time runner-up, but has had a hell of a career in college and is currently at Campbell, as is Hicksonbaugh. Bryson Neese, who was a 3-time Georgia placer, but went on and wrestled at Duke. Kyle Merritt was a 2-time Rhode Island state champion. And then you had Josh Swan, Jared Din, and you had a couple of freshmen in there. A Maddie Singleton, who's now at North Carolina State, who is the 6th seed, a 4-time Georgia State champion, and Cole Cochran, who's wrestling down or at University of Tennessee Chattanooga, who was down at the 11th seed. Yeah. So how do you compare that to the one we just saw, where it seems like it's deeper?
It really is. It really is. Like, especially if you break Hannah out there, who's he's having a pretty successful college career and stuff. It's kind of funny to mention Singleton in with these names, because what he ended up at 182 his senior year.
Yeah.
This is his freshman year, but the kid really obviously grew a lot. But you look at the kids that he took out. So you look at Singleton took out Hannah, Hicksonbaugh, and Hicksonbaugh had taken out Swan. And then you actually look at Singleton also took out Cochran. So like Singleton had a heck of a tournament and then got to the finals, and Malik
beat him. Yeah.
So that one's an incredible one too. That one might have to go above the 2017 one.
Okay. All right. So now we're getting our pecking order, and you now put 138 2018 above the 2017 152s. I got you. All right. So let's jump to 2019 and the 145-pound weight class, where we had number 1 seed Bradley Rainier, Super 32 champion, 4-time Florida champ, wrestles at Iowa. Number 2, Caleb Henson, 4-time Georgia champ, also a Super 32 champion, now starting for Virginia Tech. Number 3, Ethan Basil, 2-time Florida champ at University of Northern Iowa. Vincent Manella, 3-time Georgia State champion, who's wrestling at the University of Pennsylvania. Brett Smith, who's still in high school, who is a two-time Missouri placer, was the 5 seed. And again, you look down, Jeremy Paradise is wrestling at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, so on and so forth. So tell me how this one fits into your other two that we've already talked about.
So this one, all right. So first of all, I believe Henson was a 3-time state champ in Georgia. I think.
You're right.
He lost
You're
his
right.
freshman year. Yeah.
Yes, he did. My
He wasn't.
fault.
He was one of the 4-time knockout champs. And there hasn't been very many. So his run on it, and I had known about. It seems like some people didn't know about Caleb going into that tournament, and they're like, "Oh, he's a 2 seed." I don't know. He was definitely in the right position for the seeding. But I had kind of known about him, going through the minion teams and stuff, and he really came in and shocked some people in the finals. And that end of that match was incredible. That match was amazing. And his semis match, like all these matches, they're incredible. All the matchups that happen throughout it, and you just look at where these kids are now, and that's a pretty incredible bracket. And it's really something to think about too. How many of these kids get recruited because of knockout? Did people know who they even were before knockout? But I think that 2019 145 is a pretty strong, deep bracket. I'm not sure that it's as deep as that 38 one from 2018, but it's still pretty good.
All right, so give me your order, the last three.
We haven't given the last one yet.
No, I know, but we're going to talk about the last one. But where does what is 2019's 145? Does it come in above 2017's 152s?
I think you almost put 138 at 1 for what we've done so far. 145 2019, number 2, and number 3 that 152 2017.
Okay, that's what I was asking, and I agree with you. I mean, how often do you have 2 Super 32 champions in the same bracket meeting in the finals? And what could have been, and we'll maybe talk about this. I'm not sure this is going to be one of the ones we talk about, the best matches in knockout history. I mean, that Brett Lee Rania Caleb Henson final was lights out, honestly, right?
Still some controversy at the end. We'll see. We'll see after we look at that footage still, how that is.
So. All right. So our last bracket is 138 in 2020. You got Caden McCrary, 4-time Georgia champ, Super 32, wrestles at the University of North Carolina. Garrison Dendy, 4-time, Tennessee champ from Baylor. Tom Crook, 3-time Florida champ, now wrestling at Virginia Tech. Jacus Hines, 2-time champ, 2-time runner-up. Reese Davis. And Reese Davis, for those people in the Southeast who don't know, 2-time Oklahoma champ, 2-time runner-up, wrestling at Nebraska, is the 5 seed in this bracket. So where does this, and you look down, I mean, look down on number 18, Azakan Sejor from Mater Lakes Academy. He just won a state title last year, right? He's the 18th seed on this list. So where does 138 and 220 match up against the others?
This one's deep, and some of it is to be determined because of some of their, maybe like their college careers, if you're, or some of these guys even high school careers haven't completed yet. But what Kudo was a multiple-time state champ. He's in there too. You didn't mention him. I think Tapia had one from Timber Creek, had won a state title there too. I'm not 100% sure on that. Like other names that are jumping out at me: Tyler McKnight, Chase Gill. There's so many in this bracket. Napolitano. There's so many top level kids in that bracket, and like you said, a lot of people don't even know about the total kid, because they came out one year and they really destroyed a lot of people out here. And but they, people don't know about that kid. The incredible thing here is you look at Caden McCrary, and he had won Super 32, and I believe was close to being number 1 in the country at the time of knockout. And Jacus had an incredibly wild match with him and won at 9-7. And what is this consolation prize? He gets Tom Crook in the finals, and it's like, man.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's tough. That's tough to go in the finals and then have to take that on after you just had that exhausting match with McCrary in the semis, and then you're taking on Tom Crook. And it's just it. I don't know, that one's incredible. And I remember it, my son's in high school at that point. So I'm watching and going, man, this is wild. And obviously we know that kind of Tom out of that so far has had an incredible amount of success as a freshman at Virginia Tech already. So we kind of see where that one's, where that one's gone and stuff too. So.
All right. So I think we agree. This is, of the four we talked about, this is the deepest, but it doesn't have the top level that we saw with Brentley Rainey and Caleb Henson. So where does it fall for you?
I think with the depth of it in some of these careers to be determined still, I really think you got to rank it number one. Just the depth in that bracket was incredible that season. So I would have to definitely put that at number one.
All right, guys, you heard Corey. The official knockout version or statement as it relates to this. I'm kidding, Corey.
No, don't ever put me official knockout anything.
I know. I'm just
the video guy.
138 in 2020 as the toughest bracket. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I don't know. And will we have one top it this year? We have an opportunity for some outstanding brackets this coming year as well. So. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. What are your top four? That's what I really want to know. Corey, I appreciate you taking time, man. And yeah, it's all fun. And
what's your top four?
Oh, dang, man. I thought I was going to get off without having to tell you. So I agree with you. I think the depth where you get the quarters, the round of 16, it reminds me a little bit of like an Iron Man type of situation where you go way out and really start getting some tough matches. For me, that has it makes the bracket the toughest, but I still love the fact that watching Balmaceda versus Ruffin and Rainier versus freaking Caleb Henson, those will always kind of be at the top. But in terms of the toughest bracket, I agree with you, which, we'll just have to keep that on the down low. Okay.
Sounds good. I ain't getting you off the hook there.
All right, man. Everybody join us tomorrow, and we're going to open up another can of worms when we talk about a few things that will, I'm sure, spark a ton of controversy. Let us know who are your toughest brackets from the knockout. All right. Corey, I appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Hey, don't forget to check us out next week, December 21st, 22nd, Silver Spurs Arena. You can follow on Flow Wrestling, Track Wrestling.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fantastic event. It really is. And yeah, the streaming will be all going on. And if you have problems with your streaming, Corey's the person that you need to text. I'll send you guys his number so that you can get in touch with him.
Please don't do that. Just contact Jason Fulmore at Southeast Wrestle.
All right, guys. See you.
See you.